Okay, so welcome sa first class natin ng Ichimoku Kinko Hyo Masterclass, where today we will be discussing yung history, philosophy, and yung basics ng Ichimoku. So isi-shortcut ko na lang, no? Ichimoku na lang from now on, just so it's faster to say because it adds up over the span of ilang videos, and I don't wanna keep wasting your time. Start tayo sa history, no? So, it was developed in 1935 by Goichi Hosoda, a Japanese journalist who used to be known as Ichimoku Sanjin, which can be translated as what a man in the mountain sees. So, Ichimoku Sanjin was his pen name. Okay? Parang ako, Grumpy Trader yung pen name ko. Siya, Ichimoku Sanjin. He spent 30 years perfecting the technique before releasing his findings to the general public in the late 1960s, mga ganon, in the form of 7 books. Okay, 4 of those books you can still buy in Japan today. Okay, but yung remaining 3 out of those 7, you can only find them or you can only read them in the National Diet Library in Tokyo. Now, rinelease niya sa general public noong 1969 yung Ichimoku Kinko Hyo na techniques. But before then, noong mga 1950s, a few friends convinced him to sell them yung napag-aralan niya, yung technique ng Ichimoku Kinko Hyo, no? So, he agreed. Tapos yung binayad sa kanya nun was equivalent para makapagpatayo siya ng sarili niyang bahay. Okay? So, bago pa niya rinelease nung late 1960s, meron ng ibang nakakaalam. Now, Ichimoku Kinko Hyo translates to one-glance equilibrium chart. Now, kaya ko yan in-underline nan, important yung point na yan. Babalikan at babalikan natin yan over the course of this series. Okay? So, gusto ko lang matatak sa inyo na importante yan, yung equilibrium. And it's also sometimes referred to as one-glance cloud chart based on the unique clouds or kumo that feature in Ichimoku charting. Ichimoku is a moving average-based trend identification system, and because it contains more data points than standard candlestick charts, it provides a clearer picture of potential price action. Ichimoku takes into consideration the factor of time as an additional element along with the price action. So, isa pang yung important na factor, no, yung time. Babalikan at babalikan din natin yan over the course of these lessons. Okay, dinidiin ko lang kasi baka sabihin nyo, sinabi mo important pero di mo naman ganon diniscuss sa first video. Sa first video, di pa talaga natin madidiscuss yun, but we will go through them all. Okay, I promise. Now, for me, whenever you try to study an indicator, outside of backtesting it and forward testing it, important na malaman mo ano yung components niya and how they are calculated. Kasi, it's one of the ways para malaman mo kung ano yung intent nung gumawa. Diba? No one likely can use Bollinger Bands as well as John Bollinger, yung nag-create sa kanya. Kasi nga, meron siyang personalized logic kung bakit niya ginawa yon. So, para maintindihan natin yon, kailangan maintindihan natin yung calculations or your math behind the whole thing. Okay? So, the first part is the Tenkan-sen. The Tenkan-sen is calculated by adding the highest high and the lowest low over the past 9 periods and then dividing the result by 2. The resulting line represents a key support and resistance level as well as a signal line for reversals. So, over the past 9 periods, whether you're using this hourly or daily, basta past 9 candles or 9 bars, kukunin ng Tenkan-sen yung highest high that price got and then lowest low. So, let's say the highest high was 10, then the lowest low was 8. Over the past 9 candles or 9 periods, then the result of the Tenkan-sen would be 9. Okay? Next is the Kijun-sen. The Kijun-sen is calculated by adding the highest high and the lowest low over the past 26 periods naman and dividing the result by 2. The resulting line represents a key support and resistance level a confirmation of a trend change and can be used as a trailing stop loss point. Now, baka iniisip nyo, bakit 9? Bakit 26? Okay? Those numbers are based on the Kihon Suchi, which we will also discuss when we move forward. So lahat to, pati yung mga numbers na pinili ni Ichimoku, may dahilan, may reasoning behind it. Okay? Kung mapapansin nyo, sa Tenkan-sen saka sa Kijun-sen, ano yung pinagkaiba niya sa normal na moving average? Ang normal moving average, whether it's simple moving average or exponential or weighted or whatever, usually hinahanap yung average niya, for lack of a better term, based on the close over an X number of time. So, kunyari, you're using a 20 MA, then it's the average close of the past 20 periods. Pero to, it made it the point na hanapin yung gitna. Kasi nga, lagi nating hinahanap pag sa Ichimoku, first and foremost, is equilibrium. Okay? Sabi sa inyo, important yun eh. Next, Senko Span A. Senko Span A is calculated by adding the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, dividing the results by 2, and then plotting the result 26 periods ahead. Okay, so to the front of the chart. The resulting line forms one edge of the kumo, or cloud, that's used to identify future areas of support and resistance. The Senko Span B is calculated by adding the highest high and the lowest low over the past 52 periods, dividing it by 2, and then plotting the result 26 periods ahead. So, kasabay nung Senko Span A, no? The resulting line forms the outer edge of the kumo. That's used to identify future areas of support and resistance. So, para mabuo yung cloud or yung kumo na isa sa mga prevailing features ng Ichimoku, it takes both Senko Span A and Senko Span B, and you can see how they're calculated differently. So again, Senko Span A takes yung equilibrium, kumbaga, na hinahanap ng both Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen and finds the equilibrium of the two of them. Diba? Yung median, yung gitna. Senko Span B does the same as yung Kijun-sen and Tenkan-sen, except it does so over a longer period of time. Okay, 52 periods. Bakit 52 periods? Kasi that's the typical number of weeks in a year. Kaya siya 52. Okay? And then, of course, there's the kumo. It's the area between the two Senko spans and is referred to as yung kumo or yung cloud. Comparatively thicker than typical support and resistance lines, the cloud offers a thorough filter. A break through the cloud and a subsequent move above or below it will suggest a better and more probable trade. Okay? This definition is not complete, as you will see when we move further sa mga lessons natin. But it more or less encompasses a sufficient understanding of what the kumo is. Meaning, you can imagine it na para siyang, storm cloud. Okay? So kapag kayo aeroplano nasa taas or nasa baba nung storm cloud, mas less yung turbulence compared na kapag nasa loob ng storm cloud, di ba? So ganun din yung isa sa mga pwede nating pamamaraan para i-perceive yung kumo. Usually, when price is inside the kumo, mas may turbulence or mas may volatility that may or may not be good. Okay? And then finally, the Chiku span. The Chiku span is the current period's closing price plotted 26 days back on the chart. Ayan na naman tayo sa 26, no? This line is used to show possible areas of support and resistance as well. Now, in the next video, ipapakita ko sa inyo lahat to on a chart. Okay? But before that, I felt it was important to go through kung ano yung mga philosophies ni Ichimoku. Okay? Ni Ichimoku Sanjin. Kasi, yun nga gusto nating maintindihan kung bakit niya ginawa yung ginawa niya at bakit siya nagiging effective para sa mga traders na master na siya. Okay? So, the first one is, We are here to know the presence of the market, not to predict it. This is important. When we say presence of the market, di ba, dalawa lang naman ang nangyayari sa market eh. Buy and sell, di ba? It's how the market moves. Okay? We do not try to predict kung, okay, mas maraming buy today or mas maraming sell today. Hindi ganon eh. Ang tinitignan natin, again, is based on yung equilibrium. Who is winning based on sa equilibrium na nakikita natin. Kadalasan kasi ang price, nag-range lang yan eh. Okay? Sometimes in a small range, sometimes in a large range, sometimes ranges within ranges within ranges. But, eto, sa Ichimoku, ang hinahanap natin is kapag may nag-breakthrough sa equilibrium, sino yung nananalo? Buyers or yung sellers? And because of our understanding of Ichimoku, it makes it easier for us to identify which is which. Okay? The next one, time is everything about the market. Okay? In the future, we will discuss more about time theory. But for now, kaya 'di ba sabi ko may importance yung mga numbers, yung mga 9, 26, yung Kihonsuchi. Kasi naniniwala si Ichimoku sa market cycles. So, mga shorter term, medium term, longer term market cycles. Okay? Bakit? Kasi you have to understand na nung ginawa to, nung medyo matagal na, 'di ba? Hindi pa lahat computerized eh. So, kunwari, nagbebenta ka ng, jacket. Siyempre, yung jacket mo, mas mabenta yan malamang kapag malamig na yung panahon. Whereas kapag napakainit ng panahon, malamang wala ganong bibili ng jacket mo. Same banana. Kung kunwari, nagtitinda ka ng, say, aircon. Malamang, kapag mainit yung panahon, mas mataas yung sales mo ng aircon units compared sa kapag malamig yung panahon. Whereas hindi siya kailangan ng mga tao. Diba? So, naniniwala si Ichimoku na time is everything sa market. Yung timing, importante siya. Okay? Next is, simplicity is the truth. Now, I don't care kung ano yung mga indicators na nilalagay nyo sa chart nyo. And I don't care kung ilan yun. But ultimately, you need to understand na when the time comes that you need to make a decision, it needs to be binary. Yun lang naman yun, di ba? It's either yes or no. Or sometimes maybe, which is equivalent to no. So, let's make it simple. Kung tumataas yung market, wag na nating isipin na, tumaas lang yan kasi ganito, kasi ganyan, tapos bukas ganyan yan, tapos kinabukasan ganito na. Pag tumaas, tumaas. Kapag bumaba, bumaba. Wag na natin pahirapan yung sarili natin. Okay? Be free and surrender. Okay? What does this mean? This means you need to be able to trade freely. Wala yung fear, wala yung greed. 'Di ba? Hindi yung emotions mo ang nagko-control sa'yo. Hindi ko sinasabing walang emotions ha. Ang sinasabi ko is hindi emotions mo ang nagko-control sa'yo. Okay? So surrender to the market. Just accept what's there. Hindi naman natin kontrolado yan eh. Pwede nating ipilit na, hindi, gusto ko tumaas. Kailangan yung, IMI bukas, 30 na yan or whatever. Okay, so for future reference lang, kung kunyari naparod mo to in the future, ang price ngayon ng IMI na sa mga 10 yata. Okay? So, kailangan bukas, ganito na yan. Wala eh. Wala sa control natin yun eh. So, we just surrender to the market and be free. And then finally, always trade like you have no positions. Meaning, when you look at a chart, kunyari may hawak ka ng IMI since nabigkas na rin naman natin. Pag tinitignan mo yung chart, you trade it like wala kang hawak para you're as objective as you humanly can be. As humanly possible. Kasi kapag inuuna mo yung P&L, profit and loss mo, inuuna mo yung portfolio mo more than yung pagbasa mo ng tama, then of course, it's gonna mess up the flow. It's gonna mess up the system. Kasi inuna mo yung priorities mo, 'di ba? Whether or not tama man 'yun para sa iyo, over yung system na kailangan sinusundan mo. Okay? So, ito yung mga philosophies ni Ichimoku. Okay? Sa mga books niya, more or less, okay, marami siyang mga pahapyaw na bumabalik at bumabalik sa limang to. Okay? So, in the next video, we will be looking at an actual chart. I will show you yung mga components on the actual chart. Then we will discuss more about yung uses ng bawat isa. Okay, so until then, good luck and happy trading.